Good morning, everyone. I'm Adam Livingston, the Bitcoin Wizard, your tour guide through the cosmic crossroads where a humble brick bungalow meets the hardest money in the universe. So take a look at this title, kids, How Bitcoin Can Save Real Estate. This is not clickbait. This is a mission statement. I'm about to prove that a house is more than four walls and a 30-year shackle. It is latent capital begging for a better operating system. And Bitcoin is that OS. Right now, the median US home costs over $400,000, while the median household income is stuck in traffic. Mortgage rates have rocketed from cheap caffeine to double espresso with heart palpitations. Millions of people are priced out, millions more bleed monthly just to stand still. But what if I told you your house could moonlight as a Bitcoin treasury? Instead of equity sitting idle like a bored teenager, imagine it converted into BTC humming away 24/7, compounding value even while you sleep. No extra debts, no monthly payments, just a new lane on the wealth highway. So here's how I'm going to pull this off today. I'm going to x-ray the crisis. We're going to dissect the numbers until the affordability myth totally flatlines. Then I'm going to show you some prototype Horizon and the People's Reserve, two daring engineers turning drywall into digital gold. And no, I'm not paid by either company. This is not a sponsorship. This is just me making content for the fun of it. You know, I like to improve people's lives for fun. Get on board. And then I'm going to build the playbook. I'm going to give concrete steps for homeowners, lenders, and city treasurers who want to escape the Fiat hamster wheel. So by the last slide, you will see how a 30-year mortgage can shrink to 15, how Bitcoin liquidity can slash borrowing spreads, and how a starter home can double as a sovereign wealth fund. So fasten your seatbelts, silence your Fiat preconceptions, and let's fire this rocket. Bitcoin is warming up in the launch pad. Real estate is the payload, and together we are clearing the tower in 3, 2, 1. All right, let's autopsy the American dream while it's still twitching. The first bullet, median US sale price, $410,000. That is a starter castle priced like a small IPO. In 2019, it was $313,000. That is a 31% jump in 6 years, faster than my blood pressure when I open Zillow. Pay attention to the second bullet point here, the median household income, $83,700. And look at this majestic growth curve, 0.6%. We are calling it essentially flat, which is economist slang for pray your car never needs new tires. The third bullet is the price to income ratio, 5-1. The historic norm used to be 3-1, the polite bondage ratio. 5-1 is full-on medieval serfdom with a subscription fee. Congrats, you have leveled up to peasant 2.0. The fourth bullet is the 30-year mortgage at 6.2%. Double the post-COVID lows because central banks discovered their inner sadist. Every rate hike is another brick in the mortgage dungeon wall. The bottom line is that home prices outrun wages, the rates sprint ahead of any potential hope, and the legacy solution is borrow even more so you can service what you already owe, which is like curing obesity with extra frosting. So welcome to late-stage fiat civilization, folks. We're all living through it, where a roof over your head is a luxury commodity and debt is the air that you inhale. So keep these numbers seared into your cortex, because in a minute I'm going to show how Bitcoin turns this horror movie into a heist flick where we, the homeowners, finally steal something back. All right, team. Now that we have escaped the mortgage dungeon, let us show the battering ram. It is orange, it is unstoppable, and it settles faster than your caffeine habit. 24/7 global settlement. Okay, picture Wall Street, 5 days, 6.5 hours, frequent smoke breaks. Bitcoin laughs at that schedule. Every 10 minutes, the network closes its books with finality that would make even the IRS auditors tear up from pure existential envy. I can beam $1 billion to Antarctica in slippers at 3 o'clock in the morning, and 30 seconds later, that same Bitcoin can be rehypothecated in Singapore. Try doing that with Wells Fargo after happy hour. Then we got some equity for Bitcoin swaps. Now, instead of refinancing and gifting JP Morgan a kidney, I can trade a sliver of my home's future appreciation for immediate Bitcoin exposure. No monthly coupon, no late night panic about adjustable rates. I share the upside, the partner shares the upside, and the bank is left staring through the window like a vampire who forgot its invitation. And then we got self-repaying structures. Here's where it gets downright science fiction, folks. We can code the structure so every time Bitcoin rips higher, a chunk of principal melts away automatically. It's like ordering pizza that eats itself slice by slice while you watch Netflix. If BTC triples, the mortgage could vanish faster than your last year New Year resolution. And the only thing you still owe is a thank you note to Satoshi. So basically, collateral through the fiat lens snoozes inside bank vaults collecting dust and misery. Bitcoin is liquid, borderless, and very eager to pull its weight. Integrate it with housing contracts, and suddenly a roof is not a ball and chain, it is a rocket booster tied to a sound money engine. Next slide, we're going to see the prototypes turning this theory into cold, hard reality. Check out the company Horizon, Mr. Joe Consorti, great guy. This is the financial equivalent of finding a trap door in the mortgage maze and stepping straight into a Bitcoin vault. So this is the product model. Horizon lets me carve off a slice of my home's sleepy equity and swap it for live wire BTC. No loan, no monthly payments, no lien jockeying for first position on my title. So think of it as selling the topping rights on tomorrow's pizza while you still get every bite today. But the important fine print, Horizon's claim sits below the bank's first lien mortgage. Debt to value stays exactly where the underwriters left it, which means my banker keeps sleeping at night. And I keep stacking sats like a villain in a cartoon vault. So really, in my opinion, the target user, we're talking ideal customer, house rich, cash curious. The retired couple in Scottsdale with the paid-off bungalow, or the tech employee in Austin whose ranch-style home 5x'd in 5 years. They want Bitcoin upside without refinancing into a rate that looks like a payday loan. So what is the economic appeal, you might ask? Here is the alchemy. I turn drywall dead equity into hard money exposure, hedging myself if housing finally asks gravity for directions. So if BTC rips, my personal balance sheet graduates from suburban to interstellar. If Bitcoin chills out, I have lost $0 on interest because there was never a coupon in the first place. So Horizon doesn't fight the mortgage dragon with more debt, it quietly steps around it, pockets the gold, and whistles on the way out, okay? Next slide, we're gonna see how the People's Reserve straps a jetpack onto this concept and aims for orbit. Let's go, CJK. If Horizon is the quiet genius, People's Reserve is the mad scientist blasting heavy metal in the lab. Let me break down the 4-layer mortgage lasagna. Number 1, we got Bitcoin-powered mortgages, yes. First, they're slinging these BPMs plus a self-repaying flavor that they call SRM. So imagine a 30-year mortgage that shows up at your door wearing a mining helmet, ready to pay itself off so you can binge watch dystopian Netflix in peace. Next is the real-world asset property claim. They tokenize your future rental cash flow, collateralize it with BTC, and advertise it as a side hustle for your house. Airbnb is for amateurs, kids. This is your ranch style moonlighting as a hedge fund trader. And then we have auto amortization. Borrowers post either BTC or leftover home equity. The platform spits out a mortgage or a credit line, then lets Bitcoin's yield or price appreciation chew through the principal automatically. It's like owning a piranha that only eats debt. And then we got some yield stacking, kids. So finally, they drizzle on-chain loyalty token, PRN, over the whole thing and toss in optional Bitcoin bonds. It is DeFi lasagna, each layer stuffed with extra yield calories, guaranteed to make a traditional banker break out in hives. So if you put this whole thing together, People's Reserve turns a cursed 30-year liability into a fast-burning, Bitcoin-fueled wealth engine. So in a fiat system wheezing on life support, this platform hooks up the defibrillator and yells clear. All right, time to drag the dinosaurs onto the stage and let the meteors have their say. Here is the tale of the tape, Horizon and People's Reserve versus the geriatric cat cash out refi, and the faithful but predatory HELOC. Monthly payments, Horizon 0. People's Reserve maybe, unless Bitcoin decides to foot the bill for you like a generous drunk uncle. Cash out refi and HELOC payments every month until the sun burns out or you sell plasma, whatever comes first. The interest rate, Horizon replaces interest with an equity share, so the only thing compounding is your pride. People's Reserve can drop to 0% if Bitcoin harvests enough yield. Try asking Wells Fargo for that, and then watch them call security. With BTC upside with Horizon, I keep 100% of the moon mission. People's Reserve, remember, split some upside through the SRM yield, still better than the absolute zero that you get from a refi or HELOC, where Bitcoin upside is about as welcome as a raccoon in the bathroom. Foreclosure risk, well, Horizon has no lien, so the foreclosure boogeyman stays in the closet. The People's Reserve uses a traditional lien, but it's busy self-amortizing while you sleep. Refi and HELOC, standard foreclosure machinery standing by, hungry and well-oiled. So this is the bottom line. The legacy options here: strap a monthly payment ankle monitor on you and charge rents for the privilege. The Bitcoin-powered models either vaporize the shackle or hand it to BTC for recycling. So now I have 5 pathways to lower housing costs. Number 1 is equity monetization without debt. So picture your home equity sprawled out on the couch eating chips. Shared appreciation contracts, yank it by the collar, swap it into Bitcoin, and suddenly you own 2 appreciating assets instead of 1 sleepy roof. No new loan, no fresh payment plan, just equity pulling double shifts. Then we have those self-repay mortgages, my favorite financial animal, the debt-eating piranha. You can code the mortgage so every Bitcoin rally bites a chunk out of the principal. Rates can climb, the dollars can debase, yet the loan keeps shrinking like a reverse horror movie where the monster eats itself first. Then we have global liquidity pools. Remember, local banks price your mortgage like a gated country club. Tokenized property claims tap the entire planet's Bitcoin capital, a 24/7 marketplace where Satoshi whales hunt yield. More bidders means cheaper funds, which means your rate drops, which means cue sad violin for the regional lender. And then we got an inflation hedge advantage, obviously. Real estate is tough, but Bitcoin priced in square footage has bulldozed it. Historically, Satoshi's required to buy the average house keeps falling, meaning BTC holders watch housing get cheaper while everyone else clips their coupons and cries. So last, we fire half the paperwork. Smart contract settlements replaces wet ink signatures, notary fees, and 3-week waits with code that clears in minutes. So savings flow to the borrower instead of feeding the filing cabinet industrial complex. So these 5 pathways flip the script, kids. Housing is going to stop acting like a lifelong liability and start behaving like an asset on creatine. Keep them in mind when we dive into risk management next, because every revolution needs a seatbelt, even one powered by Orange Coin optimism. Number 1 is BTC volatility. Bitcoin's gift is 24/7 price discovery, perfectly liquid. Its curse is 3 a.m. heart palpitations. I know a negative 35% candle can keep you awake, but remember, Bitcoin's volatility is at an all-time low and will likely go down in perpetuity over long time horizons. The mitigation for that would be conservative loan-to-value caps, never lend against a flamethrower with kindling stacked to the ceiling. There's options hedges. You could buy puts so the downside gets muzzled while the upside roams free, and you can have dual collateral pools, mix a dash of USD stablecoins for shock absorbers. And then there's some regulatory uncertainty, perhaps. Nothing kills the vibe like a surprise come chat with the SEC letter. Shared equity contracts and tokenized mortgages could be labeled securities faster than you can say Howey test. The mitigation, I would say, would be proactive licensing. File first and then tweet your memes later. We gotta look at the sandbox pilots, these launches in friendly jurisdictions where regulators kind of play with rubber knives. And then we gotta look at the clear disclosures. We gotta treat the fine prints like billboard text. No gotchas, no jail time. Number 3 is counterparty risk, because startups do move fast and break things, including potentially your claim on the house if they implode like an FTX sequel. Mitigation, bankruptcy, remote SPVs, you can lock assets in a vault the parent company can't touch, even with bolt cutters. On-chain escrows exist, the court enforcing what courts might spend years debating. And insurance backstops, because sometimes black swans fly in flocks. And I don't know, I'm not an expert on any of this, guys. I have not dipped my toes into this, so tread carefully. Remember, not financial advice. But there could be some tax complexity because the IRS is the final boss. Equity for BTC swaps could be recharacterized faster than you can Google constructive sale. The mitigation for that would be private letter rulings. You could pay the fee, get the blessing, and then sleep at night. Standardized 1099s, you can make April 15th a paperwork jog, not a marathon through molten lava. So basically, these risks, yeah, they're real, but they're no darker than the 2008 mortgage abyss that we already survived. With adult supervision, hedges, compliance, SPVs, and good old-fashioned accountants, we can harness Bitcoin's power without torching the house that we're trying to save. If you strap on the seatbelt, kids, and keep your hands inside the roller coaster, the ride gets exhilarating instead of fatal. So here are my policy recommendations out there for the regulators who need to embrace the majestic orange future. Number 1, clear tax guidance. Dear Congress, please decide if swapping drywall for digital gold is alchemy or taxable sorcery. Give me a rubric, I'll tattoo it on my forehead if that unlocks pension fund money. Institutional capital is ready, just waiting for the IRS to stop communicating in riddles. I want state sandbox programs ASAP. Imagine every governor's mansion with a sandbox out front, not for toddlers, but for Bitcoin collateral pilots capped at low loan-to-values. Let us build, let us measure, and let us iterate, then slap on bureaucratic deals after that, okay? If Wyoming can do it for DAOs, then Florida can surely do it for mortgages. Standardized disclosures, truth in lending meet truth in Satoshis. Homeowners shouldn't need a Rosetta Stone to decode equity for BTC swaps. One-page key fact sheet, loan-to-value, upside split, liquidation rules. Big font, no Latin, 0 asterisks. Make it easy to read. If you need footnotes smaller than font 10, you've already lost. Number 4 is secondary market integration. A Wall Street mortgage desk, except the MBS pools are powered by Bitcoin yield instead of adjustable rate chaos. We can securitize BTC-linked streams, let global investors bid, watch borrowing costs sink like a stone. The bonus is that ratings agencies finally get a use for their blockchain task force slide deck. And then we need some public and private partnerships, okay? Because cities need affordable housing, but miners need cheap energy sinks. If you issue Bitcoin collateralized municipal bonds, you can finance workforce housing, you can repay debt with mining proceeds or appreciation. This is SimCity for adults, kids, and Bitcoin enables it. So now the tax base can expand instead of catching fire. So lawmakers, yeah, they love ribbon cuttings, bankers love yield, voters love cheaper mortgages, okay? So these 5 tweaks deliver all 3 of them. Legislators, pick up the pen for the love of God. The rest of us have houses to rescue and Satoshis to stack. Bitcoin cannot conjure lumber or pour concrete. It cannot mint more houses out of thin air. But it can rewrite the financing code that decides who gets to walk through the front door. So by converting idle equity and borderless savings into self-repaying inflation-proof capital, platforms like Horizon and People's Reserve show us a credible path to lifetime lower housing costs, wider ownership access, and faster parallel wealth accumulation. Get this, the next housing cycle does not need to be debt-soaked and fiat inflated. It can be powered by sound money that settles in minutes and compounds for decades. That single shift turns ultra despair into possibilities for families locked out of today's market and throws the gates wide for innovators to keep building. So remember this headline right here. Homeowners can ride 2 appreciating curves, property and Bitcoin, at the same time. That is not hype, that is math, and math tends to win eventually. So this is my closing ask. Let's build the rails, let's draft the rules, and let's unleash the capital. Because the moments that we do, we transform a roof over our heads from a lifelong liability into a launchpad for generational wealth. So thank you. Now let's go make realistic hope a daily headline. My name is Adam Livingston. I am the Bitcoin Wizard. If you like this content, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this video with your friends and family. Help me spread the orange gospel to the masses. Have a terrific day, kids. Don't party too hard. Class dismissed.